Kirk Duckwall here with the House Geeks here with your real estate market update for mid-June through early July 2026. Lots of things happening out there in our marketplace. We know that moves fast, and we'll dive into that in just 1 second, but make sure you click on that like, subscribe, and follow buttons. All right, let's take a look at what's happening in our Twin Cities marketplace. All right, I'd like to pull up this map kind of showing how things are heating up or cooling down. And what we're seeing is some dynamics of just kind of coming off of that peak time of year. When I went over this last month, there was definitely changes heating up across the board. Well, now we're seeing overall things slowing back down just a little bit. Now, some of the areas have heated up as far as a lower days on market out there. So Maplewood, Arden Hills, Roseville, all down a couple days on market. But on the flip side of that, we're seeing Inver Grove Heights, Lakeville, and Mendota Heights all up by a couple of days. So what's playing into this? It's inventory, supply and demand. We're coming up towards that time of year where we're getting closer and closer to peak inventory that's out there. However, the showing activity is coming off of that peak for most price points as far as the total number of buyers that are out there. And so more inventory, less showings, we're seeing that days on market kind of coming off the low, moving back up. So it did get down in the late May timeframe to 23.5, and now we're sitting there up at about 25.1 days on market. So not massive changes out there. But ultimately, the market meter, because the number of buyers is starting to slow down in a lot of price points, is moving back down. So market meter, which is this red line here, that usually gets towards its peaks while inventory is at its lowest points. And then as inventory comes up, we watch that market meter start to move back down. Now for sellers, this doesn't mean prices are moving down, but for buyers, this does mean less competition. So let's take a look first at the price point, right? So we can see price points hold overall through July before starting to make their way down. Now, we're not talking massive differences again, but because of those competition levels being lower and inventory being higher, we do see some relief for buyers there. Good news for sellers is buyers are still staying engaged, even though they are coming out of the marketplace. We've actually been watching their engagement percentage within their searches back on the rise up to 64%. So basically, you take a look at the total number of buyer searches that are set up and then the number of buyers percentage-wise that are looking at those searches. So we've seen that back on the rise. So that is a piece of positive news there for sellers. Talking about buyers by price point, if we look at the 400 or less price points, most of them have come off of their peaks and are starting to slow down. So for those buyers who have been struggling in the less than 400 price points, there is that relief coming up. And you'll see more of that as we look at the market meter. But the higher price ranges, as we go 400 to 5, still seeing good rebounds after the 4th of July. And as we move up in price points, holding very strong through that mid-July price timeline. And here's the 800 to $1 million plus, even seeing very strong numbers into that later July time frame before things are forecasted to start slowing back down. So let's take a look ultimately here at the market meter. Yes, it is going to start favoring buyers more and more as the summer goes on, but for sellers, you still have this window of opportunity there. Well, prices are good. but you're just not going to see the multiple offers as often. Looking at interest rates, we can see those have come down a little bit off of their peaks, getting up about 6.75%. Now much closer to the 6.5%, depending on which metric you're looking at. Buying or selling a home is one of the biggest financial decisions most people ever make. So if you want to know how to leverage the market to your advantage, know the forecast for the home that you're potentially looking at purchasing, or the market you're looking at purchasing in, or looking at selling, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to run an analysis for you to give you how to leverage that market to your full advantage. You can reach out to me directly, 651-303-0019, or hit me up on my website at housegeeks.com. Have a great one.